In this edition, we are speaking with Member of Parliament for Odorodiodo and also a former Minister for Youth and Sports, Lante Vanderpuye. I will be speaking to him about developmental issues and other matters relating to the Gadangbe community. Honorable, welcome to Metro News.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege.
Currently, we have 3 persons claiming to be Gamanche men. And Gamen feel that they haven't heard much from you in helping to resolve this political impasse. Honorable, where have you been?
Well, thank you very much, and it's worrying. Let me say this. One, I've always said I don't want to get myself involved in chieftaincy. It's too sensitive an area that when you are in the political leadership, you don't do. But the truth of the matter is that as Gans, we all know the truth. So why are we running away from the truth?
What's the truth, Honorable? I don't know.
As we see today, as far as I'm concerned, without being biased, I can say that we have a Gamanche. And that Gamanche is gazetted. He's been accepted by the National House of Chiefs and also by the Regional House of Chiefs.
Who is the person?
It's called Latse Adamah. And he's been accepted by the people. Everybody accepts him as a Gamanche. What is left for him is the customary thing that should be done at the Gan Traditional Council to officially let him take over. But I know there's some politics involved that I'm quiet. What I see playing out is the fact that somebody is acting as the president of the Gan Traditional Council. And that person loves that position. As soon as the Gamanche, Latse Adamah, is inducted into the house, that person loses that influence in that position. Traditionally, once a Gamanche has been installed today, has been accepted by the Regional House of Chiefs, gazetted and accepted by the National House of Chiefs. Just as a recent letter from the Regional House of Chiefs came, I latched onto a letter, I was copied. He was instructed to cede holding himself as the president of the Gan Traditional Council and hand over to Latse Adamah. He claims that it's a court issue. But I'm saying that that court issue has nothing to do with his role as the Gamanche today, as the law stands. The case has gone to court, it's gone to the Supreme Court, the rest, and now it's exhausted. Everyone has accepted his Gamanche. My worry is that he was contesting.
When you say everyone, I'm still wondering, because there are people in Gamashin who still think that Adamah Latse is in the Gamanche. And as we speak, it is Tackie who is in the town as of now, and they are going to have Odadao. Tackie is going to be at the function and not Adamah Latse.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't know any other Gamanche apart from Adamah Latse. That is what I know. I don't know any other Gamanche apart from Adamah Latse.
But the dynamics are different on the ground.
No one has told me that somebody has the legitimacy to be a Gamanche apart from Adamah Latse. I'm talking about law. And the law in this country says that traditional cases, chieftaincy issues, are resolved at the Regional House of Chiefs and also the National House of Chiefs. And if these bodies have resolved, the worst you can do is to go on appeal. And Adamah Latse have been taken to court, appeal, Supreme Court, and the verdict has been declared. And the man has been declared to be chief. What else? What else? When he was being installed, where were all these people? Initially, it was him, Aite Canada, and Dr. Joe Blangsing. You understand?
Yes.
The 2 of them have all passed. He's the one left. So if the 3 of them were in contention, and the 2 have passed, and he's the only person left, where come this other claimant? Let's all be truthful to ourselves. I will always speak the truth without fear or favor. Because this is what is taking Gans back. We fear to speak the truth, or we know the truth and we don't say it. I don't install Gamanche. I don't have that power. But at least I know Gan history. And the truth must be told. Let's even settle and say that if Dr. Joe Blangsing, Aite Canada, and Latse Adamah were fighting over the throne for years, and today it has happened that in spite of all the questions about his enthronement, he has been declared the legitimate chief. He has been gazetted by the Regional and National House of Chiefs, and he has been accepted and inducted into the Regional House of Chiefs. What again do we have to do?
But interestingly, the regional minister, Ishmael Ashiti, doesn't share in your view, and so is the chieftaincy minister, who claim they don't recognize him as Mantse. And even the Gazette.
Because people want to play politics with our chieftaincy. Because some people think that once they are in government, they can install Gamanche for us. No. No.
So you think the comments by the regional minister and the chieftaincy minister is an attempt to then impose a Gamanche?
I have put a question in Parliament to the chieftaincy minister, and I hope he will come to Parliament to answer it when the question has been admitted on this issue. That he should tell us what steps is his ministry and the national authorities taking to resolve the chieftaincy problems in the Gamashi area. Okay. You understand? And this letter I'm talking about from the national authorities and the regional authorities, the regional minister was copied. The minister for chieftaincy was also copied. So what are they talking about? What are they talking about? You see, people are becoming blinded by partisanship. And I said, what is even white, they say is black. God forbid me if I ever do that. I will always say that what is just is just.
If indeed you acknowledge Adamah Latse's Gamanche, yet there are some others who think he's not, for which there is someone also claiming to be a Gamanche, why don't you, as a leader of the community, bring the two together and then for them to find a reason to unite and move on?
You see, I have always said that I will always do what is right. So I know Gamanche, Tackie, Adamah Latse is the legitimate Gamanche. So I relate to him. Whatever I do, I go to him. I talk to him. I seek his counsel and advice in whatever I do. I don't seek the counsel and advice of any other person until he's proven not to be qualified to be on the stool. He's the one I will relate to.
But as the leader, why don't you invite the others challenging Adamah Latse, and together with Adamah Latse and his team to bring an understanding between the two, so we know that we have a united front as Game? Because as it appears, the reality isn't so, that Gans have a united front.
It's easier said than done. Let me say this. For example, Kelvin, Tackie, and Adamah Latse come from the same house. They are supposed to be brothers. So, who said they don't know what is right to do? They are elders, the kingmakers, who have caused the confusion. You should be able to put them together and resolve this matter. You see, as a politician, immediately you get yourself involved in chieftaincy issues, you'll be stepping on toes, very undeserving. What I'm saying now, the truth I'm saying, some people will misinterpret the truth.
Well, the impression is that Adamah Latse was installed somewhat by the NDC, or he's seen as an NDC sympathizer. Well,
he's the king for the Ghana people. Are we saying that the one who has been brought is also an MPP person? Is that what we want to do? Are we playing politics with our chieftaincy? That when NDC is in power, they will install their chiefs, and when MPP comes to power, they will also install their chiefs. Is that what we want?
Is that the case, Honorable? Is that the case?
This is not the case. It's not the case. You know, this issue of Adamah Latse started as far back as President Kufuor's regime. And I remember very well, at the demise of Bonnie Niamuge, I was very prominent in the funeral and all those things. And I remember very well when the late Dr. Joe Blankson, Kintaketaria, was installed, and he went to the presidency. President Kufuor made one significant statement, that he knows there are problems with the Gamanches too. So he was advising me, Taketaria then, Dr. Joe Blankson, to go and regularize and legitimize his chieftaincy. You understand? That he, President Kufuor, cannot gazette chief. He should go and get himself gazetted before he will officially work with him as the Gamanche. President Kufuor, that's the statement he made. Very telling statement, very significant statement. Because at that time, Adamah Latse was also a contestant. Aite Canada was a contestant. So we went up and down, up and down, up and down. And finally, Adamah Latse was installed. They went to court. the court declared that he's a legitimate chief. We've gone through that. How many years now? He was gazetted last year. When they were gazetting him, where were the people who are today saying he's not a Gamanche? Why didn't they take an action? When did they take an action to stop the gazetting? So I am saying that I wish I am that powerful to say that, look, you sit down and do this. But I must give honor and respect to my tradition and say that the kingmakers should do what is right. They know what is right. And today, as I say today, by law and by custom, practice, and our tradition, Adamah Latse is the legitimate Gamanche. If anybody has a problem with that, the person can go to court and seek redress. But once he's been gazetted, we should all, as a people, accept him and work with him and see him as our chief. If tomorrow there's any other judgment that goes contrary to that, whoever is installed Gamanche, we respect that person so as such. But for now, I sitting here, once I know the law says that he's the one who has been accepted, inducted as the Gamanche at the Regional House of Chiefs and gazetted by the National House of Chiefs, I will give him that acknowledgement and that respect.
Is there a caucus in Parliament for Gadangbis? Is there a Gadangbi caucus in Parliament?
Yes, we have. We have one. We have Greater Accra caucus of MPs, and then we have the Gadangbi caucus. The Gadangbi caucus are made up of MPs from the Greater Accra region who are Gadangbis.
We don't hear of them then.
Yeah, we've been doing
whether they exist or not.
A lot of work in the choir today like this, so that will be present. Our chairman is the MP for Bomkatamanso. Okay. Honorable Ni Laye Fote Agbo. And then we have Honorable Nyokan Laye as the secretary, the MP for Amasama. Okay. And then we have executive members, I and Honorable Comfort Do Ugansa. That is
we don't hear the Gadangbi caucus speaking on thematic areas or some developmental issues arising every now and then within the region.
We do. Sometimes certain things are better done more effectively in the quiet. And our number in Parliament is a bit smaller. We have other people who have become MPs in the Greater Accra region. And so sometimes when you want to do certain things, you attempt being tribalistic. So because of that, sometimes we are careful how much noise we make. We prefer to do a lot of things, but more effectively on the quiet.
Even when what you are championing is legitimate and in the best interest of the people you are representing, people will tag you with tribalistic terms, so you wouldn't?
No, we do. That's what I'm saying. That I don't say we don't do. We do. But sometimes we try to do that in the quiet rather than coming out to public with it. Because...
and with that, your people wouldn't appreciate what exactly you are doing for them.
For example, there have been so many issues in our constituencies that as a caucus we've all moved in to resolve. We've done that through Adamah, Sege, and Nengo Prampram, Bonkatamanso. We've done that in Amasama. We've done that here in Odododio. We've also recently tried to resolve another problem in Ablekuma South. So once our attention is drawn to this issue, for example, this issue of the chieftaincy, all of them asked me to put up the statement. And so we put up a statement, the minister will come, and all of us will take turns to ask the minister question. It's going to be an interesting day in Parliament, if you only that is there. We made also a comment on the issue of the premix, the missing premix. We made comment because the fishermen approached us. And so we made a statement on it as a caucus. We've also recently made a statement on the issue of homosexuality in our... most recently, just last week, we've also made an issue as a caucus on the issue, the prevalence of and abuse of tramadol in our areas. So we do make such wonderful interventions, but sometimes, unlike what we are doing, sometimes the media also do not really highlight what we do.
Maybe you don't involve us that much.
We do. As a media person, I know the importance of media in some of these things. But we're also very sensitive to the fact that anytime the Gandangwes try to talk and to demand what is their right, they are termed tribalistic. But when other people do it, they are never seen as being tribalistic. It's a worry to me. It is only in Ghana that a particular group of people feel that they are being strangulated, and when they talk, they are termed tribalistic. But when others say it, nobody talk. People think they are justified to demand what is their right. As soon as we raise issue of Ghana lands, they say you are being tribalistic. You understand? But the truth of the matter is that the Ghana people are losing their lands just for the fact that we are hosting the capital. So government takes our land for a purpose. If you have no need for it again, or that you see that out of without any recourse to us against the law of natural justice, that if government doesn't have need of it, it must go to the owner, the original owner of the. No, you see them parceling out these lands and selling to people, whilst the Gandangwe people who gave out the land in the first place do not have a place. So when you talk about these things, even though you are making great impression on all of us, it is something that because as soon as a group of people feel they are being marginalized, if you're not careful, it builds sentiments, they get incited, and they rebel against the system. We don't want that to happen.
No, the language is declining, and even in schools, in some schools in Accra, there aren't teachers teaching the subject, and you see the students being compelled, Ghana students, to learn and write exams of other languages. As a member of parliament and a key person within the Ghana state, how best do you think this issue can be addressed?
This was a very serious issue, and I think I had opportunity of discussing it with the former Minister for Education, Nana Opoku. And she said she would pick it up with the Director of Ghana Education Service. And I was invited to a meeting at the Metro unit. The idea was that if we can sponsor a lot more of our people to go into the training colleges and then specialize in Ghana teaching, because it looks like they have just a limited number of people who are qualified to teach our people in the training colleges the Ghana subject.
So the concern really is that there are teachers, but they are rather posted to other regions.
It is a fact.
When they complete.
It is a fact. For example, I personally, as a member of parliament, on behalf of the people of this area, sponsored 2 people to the training college and then the College of Education. But when they finished, one was posted to the eastern region, the other to the western region. You understand? We fought and fought for 2 years trying to get the person back here. They said if we get a space for the person in any of the schools, they are ready to post the person. In fact, the lady became frustrated and said we should let it go. So she's qualified to teach Ghana, but she's in the eastern region. And who is she going to teach Ghana there? You understand? Meanwhile, we have so many schools here without Ghana teachers. So our children are being forced to learn other languages. My daughter told me she should have preferred to do Ghana in school. But then there was no Ghana teacher.
So the issue is very close.
Oh yes. It is prevalent. You go to our schools here, especially the Ayalolo cluster of schools, the whole compound, they have only 2 Ghana teachers. You understand? And so it becomes difficult if, for example,
Ayalolo is in the heart of Accra.
We have close to about 13 schools within the compound. So some of them, some teachers are Ghanaians, but they are not trained Ghana teachers, but they are forced to teach the Ghana subject because the children want to learn. But meanwhile, Ghana's laws says that children must be taught in their local dialect from class 1 to class 6. So even by structure and by act, we are going against what the law says within this area. But what can we do? You can't say because there is no Ghana teacher, you are withdrawing your word from the school. The child has to go.
So what's the way forward, Honorable? How best can we have it tackled? Because it appears the language is then gradually dying.
The way forward is for people like you and I to conscientiously encourage our kith and kin to go into teaching and go into the teaching of the Ga language. Let me be frank with you. As I sit here, I speak more than 5 Ghanaian languages because I made effort to learn. I learned the Ga language for just about 3 years in primary school, but I can write, read the Ga Bible, sing the Ga hymn, because I made a conscious effort not to lose my identity. The same way I will ask every Ga Dangme to try. But it's not only the schools. We even have the problem with even the radio stations. Almost all the radio stations in Accra, from morning to evening, we the people in Accra are inundated with the pressure of a foreign language. You understand? And how many radio stations in Accra speak Ga? When you call into a radio station, you want to speak Ga, I say, oh, we don't understand the language. People come to interview me in another dialect, and I want to speak Ga, they say no. I said, sometimes I get offended, I say, if you don't want me to speak Ga, then I'm not ready for the interview. Because let me speak Ga, you can go and do a translation. So if all of us would do that, it's not only Gas. If the people in the Ever communities will do that, the people in the Akan community will do that. One of the rich Ghanaian dialects is the Brong language. I learned Bono because I grew up in Sunyai. Rich, but do you know, people have continually, maligned them. It's like they've been taunted, and so people even who come from the area, I feel uncomfortable speaking their own dialect. It's a very rich dialect.
And it appears that's what is happening here in Accra.
Yes, you sit in a car and. Sometimes it's not even the fault of the other people who have settled among us. It's our own fault. Because you go to buy something, because you want to be accepted, you start speaking for another language instead of speaking your own language, and force the person who is selling to you to accept your language and learn how to speak your language. You don't. So it's a problem, and I think education alone will not solve. Mm-hmm. There must be that commitment of us who are Gandangmes to make sure our children's children, to make sure the people we relate with, our relations, speak our language.
But beyond that, if there is a policy stating that the language should be taught at a basic level, why don't we make the authorities enforce it?
Yeah, we do.
Implement the policy, because that's not the case now.
For example, I've engaged the circuit supervisors in my area, and they appreciate the problem we have. They tell me, Honorable, if you know of any Ga teacher anywhere, and the person is ready to be transferred to this place, we'll bring the person. So they also try to make the effort, because they know that is what the Ghana Education Service regulations say. They wish they could do that.
And the best thing for them to do is to keep the Ga teachers here in Accra. If indeed they want to see a difference, they should keep the Ga teachers in Accra. The Ghana Education
Service must be proactive. The Ghana Education Service must be proactive. For example, if somebody goes to training college or the colleges of education, and the person goes to do a chieftaincy, it's only proper that when you are posting the person, you put the person to where he will be relevant. If somebody goes to do Inzima, you can't post the person who's going to do Inzima to Accra. How is he going to be of service to the people for whom he went to learn the language? So the Ghana Education Service must also look at their postings, their system of postings, to make sure that, and also we must also encourage our people to go to the colleges for education and study the Ghana language, so they could come back and teach the Ghana language. If we don't have the people who will go to teach, assuming all the constituencies in Accra all decide that we are sponsoring 2 people every year to the colleges of education to learn Ga or Dangme and come back and teach, I'm sure between 10 years we could have a number of people who are well resourced in the teaching of the Ga Dangme language and then they will come back and teach us. There must be a pragmatic effort on our part to do that. We are doing it individually, but just as you have prompted, it's good if we can put our efforts together. With a concerted plan, we can achieve that objective.
Right. You've been a member of Parliament for how many years? For some time, I guess.
Yes, I'm in my second term.
How has it been so far?
Well, let me say I count it as a privilege, an opportunity by the Almighty God for me to serve my people. I've always desired to be of service to my people since I was a school child. I've been a member of the Bukom Youth Association. I've been a member of the students' movement here, and I've contributed in so many ways through the assembly to now member of Parliament. So it's challenging, though. It's difficult. Sometimes it is a bit frustrating, but it's all good. If we will not do it, nobody will do it for us.
You've gone through the ranks. You've risen through the ranks to get to this point. Is it that fulfilling?
To me, it is fulfilling. Even where I've gotten to now, by the grace of Almighty God and by the people of Ododo, by their prayers and their support, for me, coming from this area to have risen to the position of a minister in this country, I think that one alone is fulfilling. I would always thank God. I will always thank my people for this opportunity. And that always humbles me so that I will need to do more, so that they will always pray for me to get better opportunities.
Viewers may be wondering that, yes, you've reached this height. What have you got to show?
My key area for some time now, for the past years as an MP, has been how to improve upon education. Because we are a fishing and also a commercial community, these pressures sometimes have effect on our children staying in the classroom. There's one thing providing education, there's another thing sustaining the child in the classroom. That's my key. We've opened educational infrastructure, we've rehabilitated some of our schools, we've put up incentive and motivational packages to make sure we retain the children in classes, and through the supply of school uniforms, school books, textbooks, exercise books, mathematical sets, organizing extra classes for them, as well as those who are every year. For the past 9 years, every year, those who are going to write BEC, we organize 6 weeks intensive extra classes for them to prepare them for the BEC.
I want us to break some of these things down for viewers to appreciate exactly what you have done. Who are the beneficiaries of these packages you are mentioning? If it has to do with schools, which schools? So at least, some of the key things, because if it is this general, people wouldn't then appreciate the efforts you are making.
What we have done with the basic schools, we give them direct support. School bags, exercise books, textbooks. For example, we tried that those who are in the JHS, we try to give them the very important English textbook that they use, the Cock Crow. We printed copies for almost each one of them, and we have those in JHS almost close to about 350 something.
Which schools have benefited?
All the schools.
Basic schools within Ododo.
20-something schools in Ododo, and all of them benefited. I can't mention all the names of the schools. Okay. And also for the primary school children, we give them school bags, we give them exercise books, and then some of them we give them school sandals. And then those in secondary school, what we've been doing now is that those who go through JHS, we prepare them between their final exams at the BEC and when the results come. We prepare them for transition to secondary schools. And some of them who do well when their results come, we support them. Even recently, the free school, SHS. We have to buy trunks and chobos. Some of them we have to give them provisions for them to survive in school.
Do we have pictures or videos of these, so we add it up to them?
I can show some to you. I always think that if those of us along the coast, if we can open up education opportunities for our people, they can excel to be very, very great people. And this community have always boasted of some of the best people as far as academicians and also professionals are concerned in this country. Kote Papa Fio, Evans Amfom, Harry Sawyer, all these people grew up from here. Professor Nafa Lesakefio, the first woman to have ever been chosen as a vice presidential candidate in this country. So we've had some big names, politicians like Sonny Professor Yisekwe, Odoi Sykes, Okanji Adamah, Tawi Adamah, all of them have been through this area. So it's an area where we have the talent, the innate talent. What is required is for the opportunity to be created for the people to make use of their talent. And that's what I have done with education.
Not only young people to 5 months, 6 months. I pay Shikaba, Nita Frache, or pay rent, or pay electricity, or pay water. Can you be fair? No one near what Pio. Yana Nutuna, I pay, or any young people I am Nutumo. The one maybe one make the schooner, ni, and now Nutumo, not to. When I get the SS, yes, certificate. Me too, 5 months, I pay go. 5 more. 5 months now, pay wash kabako.
Ni bombi ni Jonah, back 5 months. Tuni Zoom live. I pay go. Ni bombi many.
Ina bani ye obi ene nu oyo. Most of the time, the go teach lebi yes, I will get your do. We could be pay no ame obi ene ni amena education. Yeah, no need to yeah me. If you are general cleaning, pay ni your amount 1.960. A share 2 million. Ni ye be 2. No, they get 1.960 here. The moment they have a school, can you need it?
Well, only 2 more fair no 2 AM, young Billy, about 1.950,
1.650.
No, boy, a film,
film, yeah, Mokomaka, yeah, film, she management, can you be working here? Me, Libya, no one fair could get this. No one no Papa job me about an hour. One fair could do one fair this, one no potential job. Neighbor,
in a big question, can have a call one Nichumono 2 AM, Yano Palemi, 1 point no bueno, is a humble, Yano Palemi, only 2 more. No 2 more
2 AM, Yano Palemi, 1.960, Esa, I can pay, I guess I may, I can pay, I can do more Ewa. This an impian in air with you. On the panel, I can go to the Clavier, no, I challenge the PA, Messani Obashia. In the 2 more years, I have Mabuabola and Ovalo car. No, you 2 more. Dag, need to look by the call, no. Allow me, or you can't give a lack of challenge the PA, Messana no joy. To Monica, you on it. But I've been now, even a news, you come here to me again. She may fair politics alone, no go politics. She may run while I can pay. Yes, PHM.
Those who were unable to continue education, we provided them with apprenticeship, seamstress, let me say, hairdressing, shoemaking, and all. We've taken some to training for soap making, granite paste, pepper, that's shito. And so we've opened opportunities for these girls to be able to, some of the boys to have benefited from it. A few of them are doing very well. Some of them, you take them through the apprenticeship, you get to a time they just back off themselves. For example, between 2014 and 2016, we've taken close to about 300 and something girls into seamstress apprenticeship, but only about 60-something stayed in the apprenticeship and got themselves graduated.
We were speaking about sustainability, so having enrolled them, there should have been some measures in place to ensure that they remain there till completion.
Yes, we do. Sometimes what we do is that, see, these girls are identified by our community leaders who bring them, and it is a wish of that the leadership that these committee leaders will make sure that they visit them to see whether they are going to the school and the rest. So sometimes when we visit them 1 or 2 and we see that you don't go and we make contacts with them, they tell you that in Ghana they say me Tommy me share, you know. Some of them, they prefer quick money. They prefer rather going to Makola to go and sell and make money. They prefer going to retail items and sell than to spend years under apprenticeship. And we've been telling them that one, it becomes your job until you go on pension. But this you are selling sometimes with all this problem with AMA by A and all those things. Sometimes some of them get a little capital, they lose it. There are a lot of them that we have provided capitals for them to sell small things. When they get into Christmas, they come. Some of them you give them money, they buy biscuits to sell. Some of them buy candies. Some of them buy even hat. We call it bronyafai. Yes. Just to sell, to make some money, to be able to also take care of their children immediately after Christmas when school reopen. But the sustainability of those programs are said that when those people themselves, when they are trading and they are able to save something to expand their businesses. But sometimes some of them, the little that you even give them, they end up wasting them in certain frivolities, like funerals, like outdoorings and all those things. And then they come back. And it becomes difficult for you to expend another money to set them up again. So the sustainability issue is there. So that you create opportunity for them to get to these microfinances and things, and they don't pay. It becomes a burden for you to pay back. So all these challenges are there, but a lot more of them are very responsive. And whatever you ask them to do, they do. Even if it is 1 cedi a day, they should save. They save. So with the unemployment situation here, it's quite difficult. A lot of our people will want to work, but sometimes their qualification is also not there. And when people require certain qualifications for you to get employment, it's become difficult for you to try to circumvent the process and get those people jobs. The few that have the requisite qualifications will be able to support them to get jobs.
Like, are there examples?
A lot. We have a lot of the guys. I will not want to mention the areas that they are working, but I can tell you that we have a lot of our boys in the various security services because some of them, because of their abilities and also interest in sports, they get recruited into the security services and they are pursuing their sporting careers in the security services.
And we still have some of the youngsters not having jobs. Then we are not really seeing the results.
It's the gargantuan problem of the country. Everywhere you go in the country, we have the same problem.
It appears that of Gamashi is peculiar.
Well, ours is peculiar because you see the pressures of that area is so exacting on the people. Probably the only thing available to us is the fishing. And how many of our people are into fishing? Even those who are into fishing. Today, fishing has become not too much profitable because they go to fishing and they virtually catch rubber bags and polythene bags and things. They spend money and all those things. Some of them are doing trading. Today, it's becoming more expensive for them to acquire shops that people used to acquire. So our old people who used to trade at the Salaga market, the London market, the Makola market, have all been displaced.
Beni abake aya elections eko beni aka fonshiki eko we NDC government John Mahama government Salaga market wo ba je shida na ba fonshiki me ko me ka pay politics ameke wo male game ameke wo male wonye wo fenego ye bia me ni amehu amenyi ameke pay politics. Now, few New York at Mawo, Titria, Indiano, yeah. Imam make any may. Can a man, can jolly man, New York. The father. Not even can you know that again. I quite a fire. In a minute, is the next Thompson. A contractor say, it's a side, there will be a member washing. I'm making here, oya. One like a chin, I am a the game at PS when I get behind me, give me in the market. Chili can you go? Benin Moko Abraham, I can a man on New York. Can me be fair? A can you lot? No, me, I'm a dog, I come a question. Can you name a York? Namba china maya eyanto che nyumo aga ke ehano phone on me na kan be america bo jomo e wo me kan yo me fe akehie ameka segbe aka me ya jomo mi ni mo ka to me jomo mi e ka ka me ba wo amekena aka no di pa no ka ya no ma mi pe
What really happened with the Salaga market? Because I was there with you that day when the
So was
cut,
Yes.
exactly,
I've
just
made
before the
contacts-
2016
I've made
elections.
contacts with Senate. I've made contacts with the AMA, and they continue to tell me they are looking at it, that they want to look at the funding mechanism, they want to look at the whole drawing and plan and everything.
Was it that it wasn't looked at before cutting the sword at that time?
Well, the dynamics have changed. There's a new administration at Senate who maybe do not share the same vision of the previous administration or the board which approved it. There's a new management also may also have their own reservations about it. And so we're still looking at what they will do. I'm in contact with the AMA chief executive, and let me say here that he's been very cooperating in this. He also have a feeling that if we should do it, it will help our women so that they can move off the street and then get into the market to sell. So we're hoping that people will realize the importance and the need for this market. For me in particular, it's an indictment on me because I was a deputy minister for local government and I was at the forefront when everything was done to initiate and start to work and virtually complete the Kumasi KJTR market. So when my own market, my own constituency market is at a standstill, I always feel indicted. But I also have a feeling that people will realize the importance and the priority of such social programs and try to support the people. A lot of our women. It will help a lot of our girls because the market, what we plan to do was to extend the market from that small number of people who used to sell. My grandmother used to sell there. We are multiplying to about 20 times the number, from about 700 something to over 4,000 something people who will be working, selling in the market. That will be a great opportunity for a lot of our young women who want to go into trading. And even the young men, because the market was not only for women. There were people who were tailors and corn millers and all those things in the market, butchers and the rest. They all will come back to do their business, and it will create opportunity for others. It is my hope and prayer that we shall do the same with London market. Then the two will create a lot more opportunities. I am also...
You mentioned that the dynamics have changed. Could it be because you are a member of parliament on the ticket of the NDC, and we know that the NPP is in power, and as such, they wouldn't want to have it done, so the credit comes to an NDC member of parliament? Is that really the case?
I don't think governance is about that. Governance is a continuous thing. So once it's been initiated by a previous government, there are so many projects which were initiated by a previous government, and today the government is continuing. There are some that the government is even commissioning. So I think this one is important, and they must look at that. I don't want to play politics with social infrastructure, because at the end of it, when this market is complete, it is not only NDC people who will be selling in the market. The IMPP people, the CP people, everybody will be selling in the market. It is not only NDC people who will go to the market and buy something. Yes. So social programs, social infrastructure like markets, hospitals, schools, roads, water, I don't want people to look at it with the political lenses. I wish that whatever I'm doing because today God has given the opportunity to do my part. Tomorrow, if I'm not there and there is another MP, the MP will continue from where I left off. We should never play politics with this thing. So if it is because I am an NDC MP and I initiated this, at least when it is done today, the government will also take credit. Yes, NDC MP initiated it, but the NPP government came and completed it. It's all of us. That's politics.
Are you convinced with the reason given for which they haven't started the project?
Well, one, they said that the funding mechanism is quite difficult for them. The board approved, and now they change a lot of things. Their priority is not that area. Two, they also said that
their priority is not that area.
Yeah, they don't have the priority in the market.
I see.
The new board and the new management.
But this market is at the heart of the people.
So I'm thinking that they will look at that one. In fact, when we were commissioning the Makwala number 2, the mall, I made it clear in my speech, and the deputy managing director responded and said they will look at it. It's also because, let me say this, they said the earlier plan was too flamboyant and too expensive. But we thought that we should do something that is enduring, that the future will come and say it and be happy and appreciate it. Like what we are doing in Kumasi. If you see the Kumasi KJT market, you will marvel. But initially there was a resistance. But today you will marvel. It has changed the topography and the whole architecture of Kumasi. And when the second part is done, phase 2 is done, the main central market is done, people will want to travel to Kumasi just to go and see. So I wish that we can do the same thing with Makola, with Katamanto, with Salaga, with London market, with Timber market, with Abubushi market. Change the infrastructure. Once you change the infrastructure, you change even the people who work there. The sort of attitude and behaviors that they put in place, maybe if they used to throw things around, they can never do it anymore because the environment has changed. I've always been saying, if you want to change people, change their environment. Once you change the environment, the person will automatically adjust himself to the new environment. The problems of this area almost every day keeps on expanding. You identify a problem today, you try to solve it tomorrow. By the next day, the same problem that you identified, the magnitude of the problem has extended because this area always is experiencing influx of people from other parts of the country. So the dynamics of this situation, this constituency makes it very difficult for you to be able to say, I've been able to tackle A, B, C. Because what you think you have tackled today may be another problem tomorrow. We have so many problems, especially one key is sanitation. Two, because of the population, health delivery becomes a problem to us. We also have a problem with education. We also have a problem with joblessness and unemployment because we're in the capital city of Ghana and of Accra. It becomes difficult for us, for our people, to compete favorably with other people in terms of job openings. And our area is basically commercial. And so the opportunity for people, unless you decide to do your own work, self-employed and all those things. So, and that one too creates a problem for us because our people do not have the required capital to be able to get themselves into some trading on them, some businesses on their own, and also create their own jobs. So day in and day out is if you're a leader, you have to be innovative. How you can find, various creative means to be able to resolve some of these problems that the people have, and that is what I have tried.
You were recently in Gamashi to see or to talk to two elders of the community following some clashes there. Now, it appears some suspects were arrested and they've been granted bail. Some residents are raising concerns that if people commit any crime and they are arrested, they should be penalized or be prosecuted. When found guilty, then dealt with. But it appears that isn't the case. At least that's what the people are thinking, that they are arrested, then in no time they are released into the community, and so it brings about impunity, people acting with impunity.
I am one person who will never condone crime. And if you ask, they will tell you, I've always been talking against these acts of violence among our youth. I will no way, in any way, stand in the way of the police to deal with any of such arbitrariness. But there is law. If somebody commits a crime and the person is arrested, the police have a number of days within which they should grant the person bail or take the person to court for the person to be remanded or granted bail. So if the police have exercised their judgment in this situation by respecting the constitution and laws of Ghana, I think what we need to do is to explain to the people to understand that not that these people have been set free, have been allowed to go, but then the police are doing their investigation, and when the investigation is concluded, they've been granted bail. That doesn't mean they can run away. If they run away, the people who stood surety for them will be held responsible. So I will ask the people to exercise restraint. I've heard of those things. In fact, some people were even accusing me of being the one who got and sought them bail. But it is not true. What I would say is that people have relations. What I heard was that there was a lawyer who was brought in, and the lawyer was able to argue on their part and succeeded in getting them a bail. Yeah, I think that, yes, it is painful that a life has been lost. And definitely the family who have lost their relation will be offended if they should see those people who possibly or alleged to have caused that crime walking freely on the street. And it's not even in the interest of those people themselves, because Even though the Bible says vengeance is God's, some people don't understand that one, and they want to exact retaliation or seek revenge. And as such, it is not a good thing to do. Sometimes the police keep people for their own security and protection. So people should understand. Those who sought for the bail, sometimes they should also understand that maybe their people are being kept there for special reasons known to the police. The intel that the police will have, those families will not know. And sometimes they are also released by the police for purposes of investigation. Because maybe the police are looking for some leads. They have not been able to find it. They sometimes will release the person into the society. And the person, as soon as he starts integrating with people, he could say certain things, he could come out with certain things, certain leads that will help the police in their investigation. So sometimes we should give the police the benefit of the doubt.
How come we've reached a point where youngsters are wielding guns in the community?
I am very happy you have raised this issue. I raised this alarm immediately after the elections. Leading up to elections, there was proliferation of guns in this area. I was shot at several times. I had two of my supporters who were shot at, and they were admitted at Kolebu for several days. One that I'm still spending money on, because any point in time, sometimes he started bleeding because one of his arteries got torn. He needs to have a major surgery, and we don't have the money to do that now. So I've said there's so many arms in this area. And I've mentioned this, I've said this several times. The police and the security services need to do random search in this area. Some of these guys don't have the arms here. They've hidden the arms somewhere outside these areas. So the police need to identify these people, follow them up, and make sure wherever they are, they could go and see whether, so that we can retrieve the weapons from this. Too many of them. Recently, you see them, maybe sometimes 10, 20 of them sitting at the back of motorbikes, and they're just shooting into the air. It's scary. So I think the police will do more for us if they do random search in this area, in this community, and also sometimes pick individuals and follow up to their houses and where they sleep and where they hide, and try and see whether they could get some of these unlicensed weapons and things from them.
Have you raised the alarm some time back and you haven't seen the police step in? How do you see their work then in relation to this issue? Your impression of the work?
Well,
because even in Bese where the incident happened, they had policemen positioned there with one of their vans. So, are you impressed with their work?
Well, let me say this. I can only talk. I can only advocate. I will not be the person to tell the police how to do their job. I think the policemen are professional enough. They know their jobs. And I'll ask that we appreciate the work they are doing, but we wish they could do more. They could do more. With the sort of things that are happening in this area, drug abuse and the rest, if the guns are not retrieved, we'll see worse situations than what we are seeing now. Right now, any small issue, people pull gun in this area. The whole area has become so volatile, and it's increasing the level of violence in this area almost every day. And as such, the majority of us who are peaceful, the majority of people who want their peace, who want to go about their business in peace, are always hedgy. They don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. So I'll plead with the police administration. I'll plead with the IGP, who knows this area very well. I'll plead with the Minister of Interior that we should do something about this situation so that we reduce the escalation of violence and tension in this area.
Thank you very much. You've just heard from Member of Parliament for Ododo and also former Minister for Youth and Sports, Lante Vanderpuye, explaining key issues about the Ghana state to you. Well, my name is Gabriel Niobudai Togbashong. We shall catch up with him some other time. Bye-bye for now.